What's going on, beautiful viewers, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? How we doing on this beautiful Friday evening? No NBA Finals to compete with. How about that game? That was absolutely insane. I'm kicking myself because I wanted to put money on the Pacers at plus 700 to win it all, and I got scared because I'm a scared little boy, and I didn't do it. And now it's plus 225, and it's not even worth it. Gamble responsibly if you're out there. My name is Rodney. If you already knew that, thank you so much for coming back and checking out another live stream. Raiders Daily every 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern on Bleacher Report. If you're watching live on the app, which you should have downloaded, if you're watching after the fact on YouTube, if you're watching live on the app, thank you so much. We're gonna be talking a lot. We got stuff to vote on. We're gonna talk a lot about Geno today because I feel like Geno's kind of faded to the back in terms of what we expect from this team. And I think his chemistry with the team, with the new wide receivers that he's throwing to, and with Ashton Genty and with Chip Kelly, that might be the crux of the whole entire season, especially on offense. Obviously, he's the quarterback. If you're watching after the fact on YouTube, hit that like button. It does help tremendously, more than you even know. Comment away your thoughts on everything because you can't vote in the polls live, but you can comment what you think about what you would be voting in if you were watching live. Hot mic user, what's going on, man? Here all the time. Love to see it. So we're going to talk about Geno a little bit. What do we expect out of him this season? We're going to talk about his chemistry with some of these rookies. I also saw, I don't know if I was talking to somebody or if I saw it in my Discord, ALLaBorde Raiders Discord, join it, completely free. But I saw that Jack Bech's contract was still unsigned, and there's like an epidemic going around right now about a bunch of second-round draft picks that haven't signed their contracts. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and about how we don't have to worry about Jack so much. But the first thing we need to do is talk about Geno Smith right off the rip because I've got articles to pull up here. We've also got an insane statistical grid that we're going to check out that shows essentially a lot of quarterbacks who changed teams, whether it was free agency or trades, and their season that they had with that team, like the Jared Goffs and the Matthew Staffords and the Tom Bradys of the world and the Russell Wilsons, all those people. We got a statistical grid to look at. I threw it in the chat GPT. It gave me all the stats. Beautiful. Before we continue any further with this video, I have to tell you about today's sponsor, a comic book written by Omar Morales titled Major Thomas. That's right, you heard me. It is a comic book. Now, I am a fan of comic book movies, as you well might know, but I've actually never read a single comic book in my entire life. And when Omar Morales reached out to me and said, hey, I'm a Raider fan. I have an original comic for kids and adults to enjoy. It was a comic made for Raider fans by Raider fans. I was reaching out to see if you wanted to spread the word. I was like, send it over. Let me read it. And he sent it over. It's around 120 pages, and I read it all in one sitting. Major Thomas, or I'm sure it's actually Major Tomas, follows the story of a Mexican-American farm worker who becomes a NASA astronaut. Just as his dreams begin to blast off, he gets lost in the middle of a space war, marooned with crushing regret about his life choices. With a foreword by astronaut Jose M. Hernandez, Major Tomas is an inspiring hero's journey for young people around the world. Think about it this way. It's La Bamba meets Lost in Space meets Guardians of the Galaxy. You can find Major Tomas anywhere you can buy something on Amazon. It is just $6.99. It is for kids and adults to enjoy. It's got that Pixar energy. Pixar, obviously, kids' movies, but adults like me and you can enjoy this. And for Raider fans, there are plenty of Easter eggs. Like I said, no spoilers, but I'll show you a couple of my favorite comic book panels. You've already seen a couple in this ad read. All I'll say is this. We want to help out Raider Nation. This is a fellow Raider Nation guy who reached out, willing to sponsor this channel. The least we could do is check out his comic. $6.99 on Amazon. It's for kids. It's for adults. It's for everybody. Go grab Major Thomas. The link is in the description below of this video, and it is in my Discord and on my Patreon as well. Back to the video. Let's talk a little bit about Geno right now before I read this first article because I want to give my initial impression. Now, when we traded for Geno Smith, I was excited. I was more surprised. I just didn't think he was on the table. When I made that list of quarterbacks that I thought we would go after and who I wanted to get, there was the Sam Darnolds and the Aaron Rodgerses. And is it a rookie quarterback? Do we trade for a J.J. McCarthy? Matthew Stafford. I was beating that drum before he was even available. Then he became available. Then it seemed like we were going to do it. And I was like, oh, my God, this is my Brock Bowers moment. I'm a genius. I get on a plane. I get off the plane. He signs a contract with the Rams. Unfortunate. I would have rather had Matthew Stafford than Geno Smith, but Geno would have been my number 2 option ahead of anybody else if I knew he was available. So when I woke up from a nap and my phone was going crazy that we had traded for Geno Smith, I was like, ooh, wow, for a 3rd-round pick, pretty good. We essentially traded Devontae Adams for Geno Smith. I would do that every day and twice on Sunday. But as I started to think about it, I was like, I don't know a lot about Geno's play style. The only thing I know is they wrote me off. I didn't write back. He's mobile enough, and he's got a decent arm, right? Hello, mother. And as you start to do a deep dive into the type of player Geno is, you know he's great on play action, but you need a good running game for that, and we did not yet have that until Ashton Genty was folded into the mix. He can throw to every type of wide receiver. DK Metcalf is completely different. It is Friday. Did I say Thursday? It's Friday. Or are we celebrating that it's Friday, Savage Raider? Heck yeah, it's Friday. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett are 2 completely different opposite end of the spectrum wide receivers. You got Noah Fant involved a little bit. And he's a man of high character, of integrity, of honor. He's a leader of men. He pushes people forward. He likes to talk trash, yada, yada, yada. And he's obviously a significant upgrade versus anybody we've ever had after Derek Carr. And he's probably as good as Derek Carr was in 2021. Maybe as good as he was in 2016, but not really. I mean, I don't think Geno Smith is going to get MVP votes, although we could talk about Rich Gannon in a little bit. So all that to say, Geno Smith, in theory, should have the ability to be very effective in this offense. The only difference between Geno in Seattle and Geno now is that Geno was there for a little bit before he took over the starting job. So he was able to learn the offense for multiple seasons. He was able to connect with the wide receivers during training camp, during the offseason. I'm sure he took a couple first-team reps being the backup to Russell Wilson. He was able to mesh well with Pete Carroll. Now, obviously, we have Pete here, so we've got that taken care of. But this is the first time Geno is the guy with everything new, which is why I put that the season hinges on his chemistry with these wide receivers. If this was just take the Seahawks roster and turn it into the Raiders roster, I would say we're a lock 9 to 10 win team. No doubt about it. Geno Smith in his 3 years as a starter in Seattle won 9 games, made the playoffs, won 9 games, made the playoffs, won 10 games, somehow did not make the playoffs. Wasn't his fault. But as we get into the first article here, and I want to, I'm going to do my first poll before we get into the first article, and I'm going to read a little bit of the chat here. But what kind of statistical season do you expect from Geno? And be completely honest, if you think he's going to be Rich Gannon 2.0, like everybody was telling me Gardner Minshew was going to be Rich Gannon because he had a mustache and he was like, looks like a Raider. Every time I want to hear that, I want to put my head into a garbage can and fall asleep forever. But anyway, not to bring up Gardner Minshew. But how do we actually feel about how Geno's going to do? And as this poll continues to climb here, I'm going to read some of the stuff here. Hot Mike User says, I feel like Geno's very unexciting, but an island of stability for us. Interesting. He probably won't be anything revolutionary, but could play, get similar production to Jared Goff, which is enough to compete at the top level. We'll talk about Jared Goff in a second when I bring this ChatGPT grid is what I'm calling it. Geno feels like the same category as late Derek Carr, TBH. I don't disagree with that. Geno is the motor oil to make this machine turn and burn. I like that. A little Top Gun action, turn and burn. One thing we're overlooking is while we have a better O-line for Geno, we don't have the wide receiver room the Seahawks had. Yeah, in theory, on paper, maybe. I don't know. Let's talk about that. If you go to the Seattle Seahawks roster and you think about their weapons, it's Tyler Lockett, it's DK Metcalf, it's Jackson Smith-Njigba, it's Noah Fant. I think at this point, Jackson Smith-Njigba would be the number 1. DK's the number 2. Tyler Lockett's number 3. And then Fant is the tight end. I think if you just said number 1 option, who has a better number 1 option, the Raiders or the Seahawks, it'd be the Raiders. I think Brock Bowers is a better number 1 than Jackson Smith-Njigba. But then the next best option would probably be Jackson and then maybe DK before you get to Jacoby. Maybe you have an argument there. I don't know. You have to see what you have with Jack, Bech, Dante Thornton, Tommy Millott, Trey Tucker, Michael Mayer. If these guys surpass our expectations, or even don't even think about the rookies, just think about Michael Mayer and Trey Tucker. how significantly held back were they by the quarterback play of Aiden O'Connell, but more so Gardner Minshew and Jimmy Garoppolo, right? Because Aiden did okay. Like, they showed up when Aiden played a little bit. How much better can these guys get? And how much better are these rookies going to be because they have a guy like Geno and Chip Kelly calling the plays, right? So we got a 50-50 tie here. Is anyone going to break the tie for the poll? Interesting. Because of his body not being put under the usual decade-long stress, I think he's similar to a 30-year-old quarterback. That, no doubt about it. That's a great point that Pete Carroll said. He's, 33, 34, but he hasn't started that much. So he's got a fresh body. He hasn't taken that many hits. I see another hot mic user here too. Haha. Is that, there's no way that's two different people, right? Is that it's just like a different account? Like, what's going on right now? How is that possible? Interesting. Savage Raider says, I think the weapons are going to give Geno a great 10 to 11 win season. Jackson with the Jigba, DK, like Tyler Lockett are better than Myers, Bowers, and Bech, to be honest. Probably. I mean, we have the higher ceiling with Brock, but I think consistently they're probably a little bit better. I expect Geno to be at that, like, Derek Carr 2021 season. Let's pull up Derek Carr stats. Derek Carr 2021 stats. All right, so I've got it right here. It's coming up. Okay, let's see this, and then we'll jump right into our first article. Actually, wait a second. Hold on. I did it on the wrong browser, but we're going to pull up Derek Carr stats here, and then we're going to get into our first article talking about how, hot mic users, the default Bleacher Report names. Okay. I just went black there for a couple seconds. If you guys could still see me and hear me, let me know. But I'm going to keep going as if you can. Okay? So let's pull up Derek Carr's stats here, because that's the 2021 Derek Carr season is kind of what I'm comparing Geno to right now. I think that's fair. And I've got it right here thanks to this AI Google thing. And somebody, please, like I said, if you can hear me or see me in the chat, let me know, because for a couple seconds there, the stream kind of just went out. Okay. So let's go to here. Okay, so this was Derek Carr's statistical season in 2021. Now, the yards were insane. He threw for almost 5,000 yards. He threw 23 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Okay, good. Okay, I'm good. He set a franchise record for passing attempts and completion. Average 7.7 per attempt, 67.7 completion percentage. Played all 17 games. So that's kind of where I expect Geno to be. I hope the interceptions are a little less. But if you looked at Geno Smith's statistical season last year, hello, father. Yeah, they did. They took me off for saying that everybody's a hot mic user. Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. Let's look at Geno Smith statistics here. Geno Smith stats. So in Seattle, kind of similar, right? Completed more passes, a couple more picks, less yards. This is what we want to see right here. His first season in Seattle was just electric. 30 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. That's what we all want to see. But let's get to this first article, and then I'll tease you guys here. I'll tease you guys with the grid that we got here. Look at this beautiful grid that I just threw a little prompt in the chat GPT, and it spat this out in like 5 seconds. AI is scary. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy how scary it is. Okay. Ezekiel. We always read this guy's stuff. Sports Illustrated Raiders. The Las Vegas Raiders dynamic duo. The Las Vegas Raiders have retooled their coaching staff and roster. However, one duo will make or break the season for the silver and black. That's so funny. I didn't even know that he was like pitching it that way when I made the title of the video, that it hinges on this exact duo. So let's see what he says. The Las Vegas Raiders have made respectable changes to their roster this offseason as they look to become a more competitive team on the field. Las Vegas' offseason moves have given them the legitimate reason to be hopeful about the upcoming season. Trevor Sikkema of Pro Football ranked, is he former quarterback, I believe, right? Ranked the best quarterback pass-catching duo for every team in the league. He ranked the duo of Geno Smith and Brock Bowers as 20th best duo in the National Football League. Bowers and Smith are a new pairing, which makes this a bit tricky and requires some imagination. Bowers earned the third highest PFF receiving grade among tight ends last season, while Smith posted an 85.8 PFF grade over the last 2 years, with 60 big-time throws. Following OTAs, offensive coordinator Chip Kelly elaborated on Bowers' role in the offense this upcoming season. Kelly likes what he's seen so far from the second-year tight end. Yeah, I bet you have, Chip Kelly. He's absolutely insane in the membrane. Yeah, it was neat because Brock Bowers wasn't here from the beginning of phase 2. Oh, because of the... Yeah, oh yeah. Because, here's what it says. Because he went back... at Georgia getting his degree, which is awesome. So he finished school and then came up here. So he missed the first 2 or 3 weeks, phase 2. So we didn't see him when we were all first here, but we got to see everybody at first glance. when he came in here, he was as advertised. An unbelievable work ethic, unbelievable attention to detail, all things you're looking for in a player, along with just unique skill set. To have a guy that big and that athletic and moves in that way is kind of special. So we're really excited about what he can bring for us. After a historic season, the Raiders will need Brock Bowers to have another productive season. Luckily, after all of the changes Las Vegas Raiders this offseason, they do not need Bowers to be as productive as he was last season. While they would certainly take the production, they are a much deeper team on offense than they were last season. Brock Bowers will likely be a decoy more often this upcoming season than he was last season. Okay, so here's my other question, because they talked about Brock Bowers and Geno, 20th best pass throwing, passing duo in the league. That's low, but I get it because we just don't know what they can be yet. Like, I completely understand where they're coming from there. But here's my next question to the class. Who will be Geno's go-to target? Now, before you start all spamming Brock Bowers, I want you to think back to Derek Carr. Amari Cooper was the better wide receiver on all those great teams, right? On the 2016 team, on the 2015 team, 2017 team. Michael Crabtree was always the one getting most of the balls. Like, when I need a play being made, it was Michael Crabtree getting the ball, right? So I want you to, and look, that could be Brock Bowers, but will Brock be doubled? Who do you think Geno goes to when it's 3rd and 7, game's on the line? I need to find a way here to convert this, to put us in the field goal range, to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead. I agree with this poll. I thought there'd be a little more parity, but I think it's Jacoby Myers. I think for whatever reason, Aiden showed it, Gardner showed it. Jacoby Myers is that guy that just is that security blanket. He does not drop the ball. Obviously, Brock doesn't really drop the ball either, but I just think the main defensive goal next year when teams play us is stop 89. That guy's not touching the ball. Hey, it could be Tommy Milan. We'll talk about Tommy Milan in a second. Don't sleep on little Julian Edelman 2.0 there. But I think it actually is Jacoby Myers, to be honest with you. Touchdown Tommy, absolutely. Touchdown Timmy. Who's that? Not on our team. But I agree with how my user has to be Jacoby. How my user follows up. I think Brock's stats take a huge hit just due to running production. That's okay, Jay Sletter. You're here now. No worries. What's going on, man? The thing with Brock Bowers that I would hate to see is his production going down because I have him on my Dynasty Fantasy League. So that would be unfortunate. But I also have Jacoby Myers and Jack Bech and Dante Thornton and Tommy Malott because we have a lot of slots. We've got Taxi Squad and all that stuff. Tim Brown. Yeah, maybe it's Timmy Brown. I think Jacoby Myers is the go-to guy. But speaking of Geno and the stats and all that good stuff, okay, as we close this poll, I wanted to bring this up. Now, I've got a grid here to show you, okay? And this grid is NFL quarterbacks who changed teams over the last 5 years, first-year stats and notes. And they also have here that they've compiled for me team record the season before Brady got there, before Stafford got there, before Russ got there, right? And this isn't everybody, right? It doesn't have like Sam Darnold. But I want to see who we can compare Geno Smith to that's on this grid here. So take a look at, I don't think you could do Tom Brady. That's not fair. How about Matthew Stafford? Okay, pre-Stafford getting there, it was Jared Goff. The Rams were 10-6 in 2020, right? Stafford comes in from the Lions, starts all 17 games. It was a trade. Throws for almost 5,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. He was slinging the ball up and down the field to both teams. 67% completion, led Rams to Super Bowl in his first year. I do not expect Geno Smith to do that. What we have to find is a team that was in a similar spot to us the season prior, right? Like, look at Jared Goff and the Lions. The season prior, they were 5-11. He went 19-8, didn't throw for that many yards, started 14 games, 3-13. They gutted that roster, obviously, and they were super young, so I don't think that's comparable either. Dan Campbell's a great coach now, but he wasn't yet Dan Campbell. I think who you have to look at, to be completely honest with you, you have to go back a little bit here, is Phillip Rivers in 2020. Okay? Now stay with me here, because look at what happened. The year before Philip Rivers got there, they were 7-9. Okay. We obviously didn't go 7-9 last year, but if Aiden starts every game, we probably win like 5 or 6 games. Let's say we win 6 games, so we're 6-11, right? Philip Rivers comes in, an older guy, comes into a decent roster, but not the craziest roster of all time. The 2020 Colts was that like T.Y. Hilton and a young Jonathan Taylor. Is Jonathan Taylor even there yet? Philip Rivers throws for 4,100 yards, 24 touchdowns, 11 picks, helps the Colts get to an 11-5 record, a playoff berth in his last season before retiring. And then same with Carson Wentz here the year after with the Indianapolis Colts. He comes in, throws for 27-7, a little under 4,000 yards, 62% completion. They went 11-5. They missed the playoffs. Is that the actual record of the team? Even though they missed the playoffs, that's insane. If they went 11-5 and missed the playoffs, I think that might be wrong. ChatGPT might have got that wrong. But all that to say, I feel like they went like 8-8. But anyway, all that to say, I think Philip Rivers is the comp here. I think if Geno throws for 25-12, completes 70% of his passes, we could easily walk our way to 9 wins, right? Yeah, hot mic user. I'd be happy with the Philip Rivers Colts run. And the difference is, what's the difference? Philip Rivers was way older, and he was way past his prime. Geno Smith is a little younger than Philip Rivers was when he came here, and he's obviously got less wear and tear on him, right? So I think that's kind of the key here. Is this Philip Rivers Indianapolis Colts type run? They went 11-5. I predicted on my YouTube channel that we go 9-8. I'm not going to go deep dive into that, but what I'll say is we got to find a way to flip a couple of those probably NFC East games, because right now I only have us beating the Giants. I have us losing to the Cowboys, the Eagles, and the Commanders. If we could flip maybe that Cowboys game, then it's 10 wins. So I think that's all I have on Geno right now. Here's the last thing I want to talk about, because it's kind of like blew my mind initially. Not blew my mind, but like I was like, huh? And then like I read about it, and then that blew my mind, and I think it's interesting. And then we can transition to which rookie is going to contribute the most of the passing game, which maybe you'll say Tommy Milano. I don't know. So again, I said this up top. I don't remember exactly where I heard this, but Jack Bech has still not signed his rookie contract. And when I heard that, my ears perked up like a dog here in like a ice cream truck or something. Like, huh? He didn't sign his rookie deal? That's kind of strange. I think every other rookie has signed already. Ashton Genty has signed. What is Jack Bech doing waiting so long? So I did a little bit of research on it, and I found that the vast majority, all but 2 of the second-round picks, have not yet signed their contract. And I think that's extremely fascinating. And it's because of the deals that those 2 contracts that were signed by, well, you'll see here, Higgins and Schlesinger, were all but guaranteed completely, which is why everybody else is waiting. So you might be concerned about this, but this will probably like bring your concern down a little. Here's why Raiders second round pick Jack Bech remains unsigned. And this is by Pat Pickens on Heavy. Jack Bech is the Las Vegas Raiders' only unsigned draft pick from the 2025 NFL season. Like, did anybody else know this? Like, I learned this like 2 days ago. This is insane. But he's not alone among his peers. Bech is one of 30 picks from the second round that are unsigned because they're all holding out for guaranteed contracts after 2 second-round pick selections were given guaranteed deals. According to Sports Track, only 56 of the 257 picks from the 2021 NFL Draft have not yet signed a new contract. A whopping 53.5% were chosen in the second round. Only the top 2 second-round selections, number 33 Carson Schlesinger and number 34 Jaden Higgins, have signed their rookie contracts. Now, why is Jack Bech holding out? Jack Bech is aligned with his fellow second-round picks while they seek fully guaranteed contracts. Higgins is 6'4" wideout, was the first to sign when he became the first second-round selection to ink a fully guaranteed contract. His 4-year, $11 million deal includes $5.15 million in signing bonuses, which is appropriate for that draft slot, but through the market offers second-round picks. They can blame the Texans on that. Longtime Houston-based NFL writer John McClain, said on Unnecessary Roughness show on Raider Nation. They gave a fully guaranteed contract to their first pick in the second round. Then the Browns, of course the Browns did it because they're psychos, did it with Carson Schlesinger. No other second-round pick got them. All 32 first-round picks are fully guaranteed, but with Higgins and Schlesinger, the UCLA linebacker, each receiving a fully guaranteed contract, the Browns gave Schlesinger a deal worth $11.8 million over 4 years. That's insane. The rest of the second rounders are lobbying for fully guaranteed deals. That's interesting. No one should blame Bech and his peers for holding out for guaranteed contracts, and current college players should be rooting for as many holdouts to collect fully guaranteed deals. But they can't hold out forever. Of course they're going to sign, McClain said. As a 28th pick of the second round, Bech may be one of the first second rounders to give in and sign a non-guaranteed contract. Bech is likely to be eligible for a 4-year contract worth about $7 million. So even though the players will sign by the start of training camp next month, and some may even ink deals ahead of upcoming mandatory minicamps, no one wants to be the first second-round pick to sign and ruin the potential for fully guaranteed deals for everyone else. It's unprecedented for many second-round picks to still have not yet signed, and you cannot blame them for asking. That is so interesting. That is so crazy. Agents are froze. Who wants to be the agent who didn't get the guaranteed money? Don't make much of it. Once the guarantee gets worked out, everyone will work out. Yeah, I agree, but I think that's so fascinating and interesting that this is the year that the Houston Texans are like, yeah, just fully guarantee it. Like, we like you that much. Whoever Jade Higgins' agent is, good for you. It's probably like Drew Rosenhausen. And then the Browns are just psychos with their money. We know that, a la Deshaun Watson. So they just fully guaranteed his contract. And now Jack doesn't want to be the one that's like not going to do it, because then all the agents are going to be like, all right, well, he didn't do it. Or not all the agents, but all the front offices are going to be like, look, he didn't do it. So you're going to look, you were picked in the late second round. So sign your contract. I get it. Now I expect him to sign. And this is an indictment on Jack Bech's character. You just don't want to be the first one to do it. But all that being said, it's now time to transition to the rookies with Geno Smith, because we talked about Jacoby and Brock. And here's the last question I have here, as I want to talk about this a little bit. Which rookie contributes most to the passing game? Now, before you laugh at me for putting Ashton Jeanty on this list, I want you to understand something. Saquon Barkley last year had 65 receptions. If one of these rookies, Jack Bech or Dante Thornton, has 65 receptions, or Tommy Millot, that's a lot of receptions for a rookie. Like, if you pull up like Devontae Adams stats, Devontae's rookie year, he had 38 catches. His second year, he had 50 catches. His third year, he had 75. Saquon Barkley last year had 65. Could you see a scenario in which Ashton Jeanty has the most receptions of all the rookies? Now, I get what you're saying. The receptions doesn't mean contributes the most. It just means he caught the ball the most for screen passes and, swing routes. I get it. I would venture to guess that it's probably going to be Jack. I think he's going to have a season similar to a Marvin Harrison this year. 8-ish 100 yards would be nice. 7 to 8-ish 100 yards. Couple touchdowns, right? Couple end arounds. Maybe a trick play or two. But Ashton Jeanty is somebody that could very well eclipse like 50 receptions. And if you got him in a dynasty league, you are chilling. And then there's Dante and Tommy. Now, I fully expected this poll to go the way it's going. Yeah, and let's hear some stat predictions below. I think Jeanty will have 30 to 35 catches. Very, very likely. Very possible. Dante, we talked about last show. Did we talk about him last show? Yeah, I believe so. He's going to be somebody that it's going to be interesting to see how much time he splits with Trey Tucker. Is the hype real? When pads get on, does he slow down, right? Because he runs that 4.3. He's a big target. And then there's Tommy Millot. Haven't heard a lot about him, but like I said, I got a guy that works in college football, and the second I got service after the draft was over, he blew up my phone and he was talking about one draft pick, and it was not Ashton Jeanty or Dante Thornton. It was Tommy Millot. He said, this kid is a freak. Ran a 4.3. And he told me they should give him some looks at quarterback. I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe he's the Taysom Hill type guy. And if Tommy Millot shows that his body can survive the National Football League, because we thought Dylan Laube was going to be like this all-world guy, and he just gets in and gets clocked and fumbles. We do not care about Dylan Laube at all now. If Tommy Millot's body can withstand the pressures of being in the NFL, I think he could contribute with some play packages and the red zone where he's taking snaps under center. I don't know. Like, only time will tell. Oh, J.J. Pegues, second most touchdowns from a rookie. Never know. I think Thornton could have the most yards, but feel like he won't get as many targets as Bech or Genti. I'll tell you what, if he ends up having the most yards, that's exciting because that means he's just taking the top off. Tommy is quick twitch. Yeah, he's a freak. He's an absolute freak of nature. So look, if you guys got nothing else to talk about here, I think I'm going to wrap this up. A cool 29 minutes. Like I said before, if you're watching on Bleacher Report, thank you so much for joining me for this Friday evening. Like I always say, if you're going out to have a good time, party responsibly. If you're staying inside, stay inside responsibly. Just, just have some fun for me on a Friday. I hand it off to Mo Moen Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I actually don't know what time he goes on. Is it the same time as me? If it's the same time as me, it's 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. I will be back on Thursday and Friday. Stir fry time, absolutely. Can't wait. I will be on YouTube the rest of the week. If you guys are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, it's ALLaBorde Raiders. That's about it. Join the Discord. Hit that like button if you're watching After Fact on YouTube. Comment away, and please be sure to subscribe. It's free, after no charge to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.